Today's guest is a special guest, Eric LeVine from...
Wait, stop. LeVine. My whole fucking life.
Excuse me. Thank you. Thank you for the correction.
Retake. Yeah. Start from the top.
Today's special guest is Eric LeVine from 317 Main in Farmingdale. Thank you for coming in,
Thanks
Eric.
for having me.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Just the few minutes that we've had already, just chatting. But I don't know. I think it makes sense. Give us a little bit of backdrop. Fair to say, you're an entrepreneur, you're an author.
Yep.
I think you're a mentor, and I'm sure the list goes on. But
Third degree black belt.
Third degree black belt. We just learned that as well. But give us some backdrop. Hospitality, how you got to where you are today. Where did the passion start? And start to fill us in.
Well, I think it actually started when I was literally 6 years old. My stepmother took us to an Italian restaurant, and the first dish that I could remember was this angel hair pasta with pesto. And to today, I still make the pesto the same exact way because it's that, the mind muscle memory. If it doesn't taste the same way it did when I was 6 years old, it's not right. So the passion for that experience has always been ingrained in me. And then remembering like my grandmother when we were at her house, because she kind of raised us, because mom was full-time college student and full-time working. So grandma was there to kind of, she fed us, and she did it with love, right? So that love translated into hospitality. So I always think of it in terms of how do I make the experience great for people, whether it's my staff or my customers, my partners, my family. How do I make everyone's experience great? So hospitality has kind of been ingrained in me for a long time. And I work for some amazing people. My mentor, David Burke at the River Cafe back in the 80s, while he kicked the hell out of me, he made me understand. Yeah, literally. He explained to me and shared with me the experience of everything. It's not just what you put on the plate, how you put on the plate, what the plate is, what's the experience when it gets to the customer, and how that translates to hospitality. It's not just about food, it's about everything. The service end of it, the way the place feels. If people feel like they're in a great place, they're going to feel more comfortable, they're going to want to buy more. But most of all, they're going to find a place that they could call home. And for me, in our restaurants, that's what I want to do. I want people to feel like they're comfortable, that they're happy to be there, that it's home for them. Because if you can, whether you're doing, like at 317, whether you're doing a chef's table experience or you're doing a regular dine-in experience, whether it's lunch, brunch, dinner, events, like we want people to feel like, okay, I'm home. Like I know what I'm going to get. I know I'm going to get a great experience, not just great food, because we could have a great dish and poor service. They're just going to remember the poor service. That goes through every restaurant in the industry. If you don't have great hospitality, nothing matters. I can make the greatest burger, the greatest foie gras dish, the greatest pasta dish. If we have garbage service and garbage hospitality from the moment you walk in, that sets the tone, right? So if you walk in and the hostess is standing there by the hostess stand on her cell phone, oh, hi. Oh, I'm sorry.
Like
what does that say?
Like you're bothering them.
Right. Like they're like, exactly. Why are you inconveniencing me? I'm texting, I'm tweeting or whatever X now, whatever it's called. But it's a, like, how do they feel when they walk in? Just like if the doors are dirty, if the glass isn't clean, that sets the expectation. Deborah and I, my wife, we go to restaurants, and when she comes back from the bathroom, I go, how's the bathroom? And she'll say, it's shitty, but I cleaned it, or it's good. We went to a restaurant last week for my birthday called Huso. It's a Michelin star restaurant. The chef his name is Buddha. He won Top Chef and Top Chef World. Guy is amazing. His food is insane. But the experience overall, you could understand why he's a Michelin star chef. The experience from the moment we walked in, the greeting, the seating, the way they took you just through the journey, and the bathroom, right? I've never seen a bathroom like it was just beautiful down to the toilet. Like you didn't have to touch it. You tap it on the side and it flushed. It was just wild. Like we talked about that for hours. I'm like, it's an experience, right? It's hospitality. It's how you make someone feel that, when you're doing something that's not expected, that's hospitality. You should take the drink order. You should recognize them in 30 seconds or acknowledge them in 30 seconds. You should walk them through the menu. You should walk them through the experience. But what are the things that you're doing that are real hospitality that you're doing that's not expected. That's the difference. That is always the difference. I'm partnering up with a company called 30% Rule. And what they do is they focus on Preston Lee. Yeah. So we're in the process right now of partnering up because they needed a back of the house person to help them with their company. And I do a lot of consulting. And I've been consulting for years because I've been doing this for years and I've had some great success, but I've had more epic failures than I care to admit. But those are the things that taught me how to create better, to do better. So now, as an entrepreneur, as someone who loves more than ever what I'm doing, it's paying it forward, right? It's I can make a little money out of it, but it's also creating better. I consult, but I also do a lot of public speaking. So I did a keynote this past year for an organization called CaterSource, and my talk wasn't about the food part of it. It was about the business of you, right? And how you can be better. So if you're better for you, you can be so much better for everyone else in the universe. And I went through a massive transformation over the last few years. Dropped 184 pounds, ran my first marathon, really life-changing. Wow. Met my soulmate, the most amazing woman, like perfection in a person. And we balanced each other very well. But it took me so long.
Is she in the business?
Now she is with me. Not just through me, but we opened a couple places in Brooklyn, and she was my GM, and really like rock star mentality, not just because she's my person, but just to see someone grab onto something like that and just to own it and just elevate with it. It's mind-bending. And so she gets it. And she gets it from a different perspective because for years she was a dance coach. She was a dancer. She was in that competitive dance world. So she has a great mindset. She knows what it means to hustle, to work hard. So for me, I didn't have to prompt her to do it. She matches my energy. She matches my mindset. And it's always like right now I'm doing stuff with 30% Rule. Like there are things that I'm like, hey, can you help me with this? And then she just takes it to a whole other level. So for our clients, it goes to a whole other place, which is a beautiful thing. And, talk about the hospitality of stuff. And, that's one of the things with Preston. Deb and I were about to open up Evolution and Blackbird in Brooklyn at a hotel. And we were going out for dinner to a place called Saga. We went to take Preston's class just on a whim. I'm like, hey, you want to go do this? We're going to go for dinner. Why don't we do that first and go in? We did. And it was 2 hours of amazing. This guy, Preston Lee from 30% Rule, blew my mind. I was like, holy shit, he is my, I'm sorry, am I allowed to curse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit, he is my entrepreneur spirit animal. Like what he does in hospitality is how I approach the kitchen in consulting. So it was really cool to meet him, talk to him, and we just clicked right away. And they approached me about doing the back of the house stuff, which is great because they're so organized. He's at that level that I'm just like, let's go. He's like, yeah, you ready? I'm like, let's go. He's like, you better be ready. I'm like, bring it. You don't scare me. You think you're going to scare me? Bring it. I'm hoping he could scare me. I like to be scared. I like to be challenged. But it's one of those things you talk about hospitality in the restaurant business, and any business. It could be the person on the other phone when you're calling up Verizon or whatever, and how they act to you is how you're going to react to their business. I pulled myself out of businesses because of lack of hospitality. And they may have a better financial deal, but it's how you feel with them. If you don't feel good about who you're doing business with, I can't support you. I can't go down that rabbit hole. There's a company called First Form. Andy Frisella owns it. He does a podcast called 75 Hard, which is what saved me in my mindset and how I approach life. And I buy his product, not just because it's the best product out there, but because it resonates with me. The mindset, their ideology, their thought process of that. You're responsible for you. You do the work. One of the hashtags is we do the work. And not a single person in that company doesn't do the work. When I buy a product from them, I get a letter, handwritten letter from whoever's packing it. Hey, thanks so much, Eric, for supporting us. We watch you online, kicking ass, taking names, love it, keep firing it up. Because my tagline is fired up. And I'm like, you suck. You just used my tagline. Don't do that. But okay, cool. That is
paying attention.
Yeah, that is absolutely outrageous customer service. There was a guy, his name is T. Scott Gross. He wrote a book called Absolutely Outrageous Service. And I learned so much from that book. that I didn't know as a cook, as a young chef, what it did to me and how that opened my eyes to hospitality and what you can do. Like, it's just mind bending. I just always learn, constantly learning, and I open my mind to different things, even from a personal growth perspective. I read this book, The Power of Now, like 5-6 times, and every time I read it, it has a different effect on me. Just like if I read, one of Tim Grover's books, has a different effect. The Goggins book has a different effect. How you look at things in your life and your perspective and where you are, it's what's going to hit you, right? There's so many different things that I love to learn. I love to, sponge things because, I'm 56 and I feel like I know nothing. Like I know shit. I know nothing. And I just love to learn, whether it's about people, it's about processes and procedures. Like this whole AI thing, like I'm digging into it now and how it's going to affect the restaurant business, but I'm going to fucking dominate that. Because do you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is? Yep. Okay, so Gary V was talking about that on one of his podcasts. He's like, if I could say anything to any of you entrepreneurs, business people, learn AI. Learn AI because it's going to run everything and the robots are going to kill us. And I'm like, hell yeah, let them come because I'm going to be ready. But from a perspective of the restaurant industry, like I've brought it up to other people and they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, study AI. And I'm like, you know what? Don't do it. I'll do it. So I'm spending, every day a little bit more time in understanding on how it could benefit the industry, my business. And then, I'm trying to get, my stepson to kind of jump into it and kind of, monetize that whole approach to it. Because if he could take it and bring it to the industry, like I'll help him, but how cool would it be to take AI for the restaurant business, not just in an algorithm or in a Instagram format, but like to change the whole trajectory of the industry and using AI to dominate in systems and operations. No one's doing that. And watch, people are going to do that from watching this podcast. They'll be like, he said, that dummy said something interesting.
This guy with the tattoos saying crazy things.
But like for like, the more you think about these things, I don't want to be behind the 8 ball. The way I look at it, I'm 56, I'm doing this 45 years. If I have a good 20, 25 years left of doing this the way I do in the food and beverage industry at my level, because there'll be a little bit of a teeter off. As I get to 75, 80, maybe I'll want to hang out and go on a trip or something. But like, I don't want to slow down. I feel like I'm just getting started. And like I said, I know nothing, but I'm willing to learn everything. I don't care who it's from. Learn something from a vendor, from a dishwasher, from a delivery guy, from a customer, like just learn. People are so myopic. Like when the pandemic hit, I reached out to a lot of people that I know who are in the business. And I'm like, what are you doing to pivot? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do I mean? We're shut down. What are you doing? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm opening up my fucking windows and I'm pouring alcohol and selling food to go. Yeah, but that's not my model. Well, you're going to be dead in another month. Well, I don't do that. Well, learn how to do it. Learn to swim because ain't no one coming to save you. Not the government. Nobody.
That's what carried you through.
Yeah,
the COVID
we were
period.
only open up for 5 months, so we didn't really get the access to the finances that we wanted. So you had to have a year of receipts. Yeah. So, and also we were new. No one knew who the hell we were, but they found out quick. My GM Perry created these jars to go. We created a whole, like a lemonade stand out front. I created all these packages to go, and it's the only thing that saved us. Yeah, we had to let go of 59 people, but I hung on to my 2 sous chefs at the time. So you do what you can do, but you can only do what you're able to do, and then after the lock, it's just a whole other story. But like, it's the mask thing. Go fuck yourself. Like I'm not wearing a mask. Come at me, but the government did what they did. It's just I know everyone's got their vibe on there. I don't want to be political about it, but it just didn't help us as a business and people. So so we do what we do. And people who didn't pivot died. And I'm like, I'm sharing my idea. Here is something to help you. You got to do the work. You got to do the work.
You collaborate today with I don't say many others, but others in different capacities.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of followers and people who are industry friends.
Sure.
I have like 3 great friends. They're still my best friends from childhood. All savages, all animals. But
in hospitality or just
no. One's a doctor, one's a teacher, one's a lawyer. So we all have different vibes, but we're all like, when that old we gotta take care of some business. You can't ask me any questions. They'll go, whose car are we taking? Those kind of guys, those ride or die animals. But we're all best friends, and we could tell each other everything, and it stays with us. But I have a lot of people in the industry who come to me, and there's a lot of clients, but there are also people I just help. Through my consulting, there have been people who I have helped for no charge, because I feel like if I could help them, because they're on that tipping point of death, so to speak, for business. Mm-hmm. And that's what led me to the life coaching thing. There are people who are literally tipping on that edge, and reach out to me. Oh, I know you do the life coaching. Could you help me? Sure. I don't have any money. Okay. So as a human being, like it's the right thing to do. It's not about the money, right? I am the richest human being in love and in life. I don't have a penny in my bank, but I am the richest human ever lived. And I'm grateful. I mean, Deb is the one who kind of helped get me to that point because of the monster that she is. But I didn't know what I was missing in life till I met her. But now I'm able to give it, pay it forward. So I get calls all the time, messages all the time. Hey, and sometimes it's, I feel bad because I can't financially help somebody, but here's what you could do. Here's a direction you could do, just like learning about mental health. You don't know whatever someone's going through. So I will say that I was not the most understanding human being for a long time. When my little brother, he had tried ending his life, I wasn't very gracious about it. And, it was more of like, I was angry at him, didn't understand mental health. And I was like, if you're going to fucking do it, do it. Don't go halfway. Go all the way. Shitty thing to say. And unfortunately, he passed away from brain cancer a few years ago, but I got a chance to apologize to him. That's why when I ran the marathon, I ran it for the Lymphoma Leukemia Society. And we raised, I think, $1.2 million, but I ran in his memory. He had died from glioblastoma, which is brain cancer. And I didn't know the impact. So you want to talk about impact of a human being? This motherfucker, he was a yogi. He studied in India, almost died from like some intestinal thing some weird shit, wound up going to Hawaii, being a yogi and helping people. He was doing a cliff dive with a group of people. They went back. He did one more dive, off by 3 feet, snapped his neck, crawled up the side of a mountain, crawled the road to get to the car with a broken neck. Strength, mindset, amazing, right? So I was pretty impressed. I mean, he had to have a halo on and all this wild shit. And when he came back from Hawaii, he was coming back to either visit or he wanted to open a business. I don't remember what it was, but he had like a brain aneurysm or something popped. So they flew him from California, and this was the day of lockdown. I flew him into New York to Cornell. No one could get to see him, not even my mom. So through channels and stuff, she got to him. They told him that he had brain cancer and it was terminal, and I could relate to it because I had a terminal cancer. So like him and I would text on the side, and dark humor is my favorite place to be. But they did a documentary on him. So let me step back a little. Sorry. So through all his guru yogi stuff, he affected so many people in a positive way, right? So this group contacted my mom and said, listen, he's going to go into hospice. We are willing to take him in, house him, take care of all his medical, but we'd like to do a documentary on his last days. And they did it. Now, I struggled with this for a while because I talked to him all the time, Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I don't know how to do this one. I thought I put it on hold. Sorry. Sorry about that.
Take some stuff out of the frame. Is this your backup?
Yes, that's fine. You can take it. If it's in the way, I don't want it to be in the way. Sorry. I don't know why it went off. Anywho. So Hillary. Oh, so they asked if my mom and him went. It was okay. I am so fucking sorry. And the only person emergency line is the wife, but she's texting other people. So you want to put this outside so it doesn't. I'm sorry. So yeah, because it's gonna ring because it's like an emergency. It's her, but it's not an emergency. But anyway, should we wait for him?
Yeah.
Let me back up. Sorry about that.
All good.
I put it on air mode also, so airplane mode, and somehow it kicks through. It's like the only person outside of my daughter. I don't even have it for my son that I have emergency. It could go through anything. Oh, and my mom because she's out of her mind. She'll text me a million times.
Does she live here in New York?
She lives in Brooklyn still. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why. She's out of her fucking mind. It's like she lives where we grew up in Sheepshead Bay, like 2 buildings down, and she's like. There. I'm like, move away. She's like, I don't want to move away from you. I'm like, you don't live on Long Island. You're far enough. Go to Arizona. Go to Florida. Go to wherever. Just not California. You know.
She likes rolling roasters too much?
Yeah, probably. Or I don't know. I don't know. Rolling roast. My God. Brendan and Carr.
Yeah.
Those are my old stomping ground, old drug selling places too when I was a kid. Yeah, it was.
The good old days.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they were good, but they were fun.
At the time,
they were certainly fun. But that's in writing the book. Like that's been like the weird, fun part of it, because all these things are coming back, and I'm like, oof. I had to tell my mom at Christmas time, at Christmas she came over for dinner, and I'm like, listen, I'm letting you know now, I'm working on my autobiography, and there are things in here that you don't know, so I'm going to tell you now. So when somebody calls you up and said, oh my God, what the fuck? You'll know. It won't be a shock to you. So I told her a few things and she's like, makes sense. Yeah, real bad things. I was a problem child. Like I just, when it comes out, people are going to be like, how are you not dead multiple times? I don't even know how I'm not dead multiple times. I mean, the shit that I dealt with and the people that I, selling drugs and falling off train. It was wild shit. Well, so like as I'm writing it, it's like.
What was your where did you get introduced to what was your
my first
hospitality job, I guess?
I was working at 11 years old at a Jan's restaurant in Brooklyn, and I went in for a dishwasher job because my brother and I wanted to go work. And my first day there, they fired the fry guy, and he's like, "You." Go
11
years old. Back then, it was the Wild West. I mean, by the time I was 12 years old, I drank my first bottle of whiskey. By the time I was almost 13, I did my first line of Coke. By the time I was 13, I was shooting heroin. Like all, dealing it and selling it and being part of this insane world.
Did you have all the tattoos at that age?
No, I was born with the tattoos. Actually, this tattoo, the tattoo of Christ, I got when I was, I think, 17, as the reminder of like all the things that I did wrong and being saved. And I'm not, please understand, I'm not, Jesus, well, holy roller. I just know what my experience was. I was, I was 13-ish, a little bit older than 13, and I was in Central Park, laying in the snow, no shirt on, with a needle between my toes, and I just felt the hand of God touch me, and that was it. Never touched a drug since. And
what year was that?
I was 13 years old, so it was.
So you haven't literally from your.
Oh yeah. No, it's been forever. I mean, I don't even smoke weed, which I probably should at times, but it's like, you go through things. So when I got past that stuff, and I stopped and got clean. I got kicked out of Brooklyn because my mom kicked me out to live with my dad because I was a troubled child. And the people that my best friends that I was introduced to had just started smoking weed and doing that shit. And I'm like, I don't do that stuff, man. I'm good, and more, yeah. And it's like you go through cycles in life and you find new people, and the restaurant business it's the greatest business. I think it's the greatest business in the universe because you meet so many different styles of people, versatility, religions, and backgrounds. So many different, whether it's Hispanic or whether it's Irish, Italian, Jewish. You meet all these people, and the cultures become such an amazing place because you learn, if you want to, from everybody.
It becomes its own dysfunctional family.
Oh yeah, no. Well, I haven't decided final yet, but the working title of the book is King of the Misfit Toys, because it's true. Like, my world has been surrounded by the most insane human beings. Like, Anthony Bourdain wrote Kitchen Confidential, and it was a glimpse into what the business is like. And he was brilliant in writing that book because it really opened people up to what it's like in the business. You get a guy like Curtis Duffy, who just put out a book called Fireproof, and you learn his background. His story was like, it's wild because of what he went through as a kid, and his father, what he did, and just everyone has their thing, right? And I just went through something with my restaurants in Brooklyn, and I reached out to him because we'll talk, and I'm trying to get up there to hang out with him one night, just because I love to learn. And he's so good at what he did. He's on my Mount Rushmore of chefs. Like, he's just so good at what he does, and he's such a great guy. And I went through something similar that he went through, where it was, you get into business with people, and they don't get it, and they don't understand you gotta be in it for the long game. Short game won't work. And you can't let it be about your ego. You have to do it about hospitality, about the business. And it can't be just this. It has to be everything. Because if you're missing a piece, you're missing a piece. And it could be a crucial piece that someone comes in and says, why don't you have this? I'm not coming back because of that. Now, you can't be everything to everybody. But what you can do is be consistent in your hospitality, how you take care of a customer, how you greet them, how you anticipate what they're looking for. And it's not easy. The industry is different. There's so many more restaurants now with so few quality people. I happen to have an army of quality people, and yet we still miss. So you talk about like Preston Lee and what he brings. I want him to come in and do a whole group for the restaurants that we have of training, of hospitality. When it comes from me, it comes with a different sense, a little bit more hammer. And even when I point out the obvious, or I come with the receipts of, see, this is why. I have a server. She's the first person we hired, Janice, and she has positively outrageous service. And people will talk about her in their Yelp reviews and the reviews of her on Google or whatever, because she goes the extra mile. And some of the guys and girls, she's fishing for reviews. I'm like, fucking fish. Get your fishing rod out and get it. Because if you're giving hospitality, they're going to want to do it. People still don't know about, we're open almost 6 years in September. People still don't know about 317. And I'm all over the place. I am on Fox and Friends, Channel 12, Channel 11, Channel 2. I'm doing a lot. So we have great exposure, probably more than any chef on Long Island. And still people don't know about us.
Still work to do.
Still we're going to go through a relaunch, a rebrand, because we have to. Because we're 6 years in, and not that we're stale, but you guys shake it up. We're doing some really cool things and funky things. Hospitality has to follow in, has to be part of that, because we have to be better. I have to always be better. I can't take a day off. In a sense, I can take a day off, but I can never take my foot off the gas.
Right.
Hospitality, never me too. I never want to be that fucking restaurant. Oh yeah, they have it too. I want to be better. So everyone's got lobster rolls. We're the only restaurant that has a 3-foot lobster roll. My buddy Mike, who owns Jackson Hall, he's like, dude, he's like, what the fuck? I'm like, what? You got 80,000 lobster rolls. I got the 3-foot
he
one.
Has 8.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm gonna do a 4-foot one and charge $5 less. I'm like, fuck you, go ahead and do it. But it's that kind. He's the kind of guy that I like in the business, because
you guys push each other.
You push each other. Yeah. You support each other. Joe from Poppy's Clam Bar. You push each other. You share in the experience. You help each other. Francis, who was at the stateroom. Great chef. You want to. I love seeing people succeed. I love seeing people do great things, because it challenges me to be better, right? I don't, like I said before, I don't know anything. I know enough to know that I have to learn, that I have to grow, that I have to constantly evolve, whether it's restaurant-wise, food-wise, personally. Like I tell my sous chef Boris all the time, I'm like, we've made this dish 1,000 times. Look at it again. How can we make it better? Then we take that to the team and go, this. Because if you think it's good enough, then you're an idiot, in my opinion. Like it's never good enough. It's never great. I want it to be excellent, not just good. I want it to be excellent. I don't care if it's a burger. I will never change our burger blend, because the burger blend is perfection. It's a triple blend burger. It's chuck, short loin, and brisket. It is perfection. How we cook it is another story. One person's medium rare is another person's rare or medium. And you guide your customer along the way. You can do charts. Here's our rare. Here's our medium rare. Here's our medium. This is our medium well. Yeah, but I want it like medium rare, medium. I'm like, fuck you, that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. I had a server come in, it was it was sometime this year. He's like, chef, the customer wants a medium rare, medium. I'm like, no, unless they're gonna have a thermometer at the table to temp it so I could get it right between that 220 and 228. And they could temp it at the table. I'm not doing that. Like, but that's how they want it. I'm like, yeah, I want to be 6'8". I don't see that happening either. So it's how do you get the customer to understand that it's this and this. It's not this, because this doesn't exist. It's like, you can't teach, I have a section in the book that's called Stupid Things That Customers Say to Me. I had a guy not too long ago send back our ramen. And I said to the server, well, like, what's wrong with it? Because I always ask him, find out what's wrong with it. Find out, what it was like. I said, what's up? He said, customers never had ramen with noodles in it. Exactly. Right? I'm like, you never had, then they've had soup. He's like, nope, he's had ramen all over the place, never had noodles in it. I'm like, listen, I'm going to go talk to the customer, because I always talk to our customers. And if he doesn't tip you, I will tip you. But I'm going to make it real hard for him right now. So I go over with the bowl in my hand and I put it down. I go, sir, my name's Eric. I'm the chef and one of the owners. I understand you don't like the ramen. Why don't you tell me about that? He's like, I've had ramen before. I've never had it with noodles. I'm like, sir, you've had soup then. He's like, no, I've had ramen. I'm like, I will never say that you're wrong, but you're not right in this instance. Ramen noodle. He's like, so you're saying the customer's wrong? I'm like, the customer's always the customer, not always right. He's like, I've never heard that before. I'm like, yeah, I know. I know, because everyone will say, you know what, let me take that from you. I'm going to take care of you. Well, in this instance, would you like to wrap this up? He's like, well, I just want ramen. I'm like, I'm going to make you soup. I'm going to make you the best soup you've ever had. He's like, you're really pushing it, aren't you? I go, I'm just getting started. Like, what do you want to do? He's like, and he just like looked at me, and I'm like, I'll just take it away and just fucking, what do you want? What is it that you'd like to have? And sometimes you get people who are just like that. And, they'll go on Yelp, and I'm not afraid of Yelp. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Right. There are things I used to let for years, like a negative review would keep me up at night. It made me crazy. Now I'm like, I respond to everything good or bad. And sometimes people just want to be heard. I'm like, if you're here and there's something wrong, tell me, let me fix it. I didn't want to say anything. Oh, but you want to go online and bang the shit out of me and say I'm this, I'm that.
50,000 people.
Yeah, like so I respond in kind, and you can't. One of my partners is always like, "Don't kill them. Could you adjust that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but they need to be killed." He's like, "Yeah, I know, I get it, but let's not do that." I'm like, "Okay," so I'll go back and change it up a little bit, just enough to play slap and tickle, And sometimes it could be a bad day, it could be a bad moment, it could be us. Or it could be the customer. It could be how they're eating and what they're drinking with, right? So our staff has to be really aware of what's the dish they're having, what are they drinking with it, what's the chemical reaction they're going to have. And I always tell them, if you don't know, come to me. I'll help you. Not that I know everything. I know nothing. But I know enough to know chemical reaction. And if I don't know it, I'll find it out, because that cell phone's an awesome thing. You could Google anything, and it's simple. It's simple enough to do, but we make the mistake sometimes in the industry of not paying attention to the customer's experience. And for me, it's unacceptable. I don't ever want to miss that beat.
So who else do you put on the Mount Rushmore with other chefs up there?
David Burke, who was my mentor.
Still a friend of yours?
Yep. Yeah, we're good.
Does he live in Long Island?
New Jersey. He's a Jersey guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Because I think he was doing something in Garden City.
Yeah, he's got the Garden City Hotel. Yeah. So he's everywhere. Yeah. He's, it's funny. I was talking to someone the other day, and they're like, holy shit, you're like him. I'm like, oh, I did an interview yesterday for a magazine. That's what it was. And they're like, yeah, we've done interviews with him, and you guys have that same mindset and personality. I'm like, he was my mentor. I learned a lot from him. He's the reason. I tell everyone in any interview that I do, he's the reason that I am creative the way I am, in a sense of not the specifics, but the mindset, right? He opened me up to seeing things differently. It's not just a plate, it's a vessel, and it's what you do. Now, back in the day at the River Cafe, we used to have, 18, 20 touches on a plate. I don't do that anymore, nor does he. But we talk about the simplicity of food now, and how just do great food, a great roast chicken, how people love that more so than the higher end fine dining. Like we do at 317 with the chef's table, it gives me the space to play in that eclectic, more high end experience, and I get to do that stuff. I get to do pop ups. I'm doing a pop up next month, September 18, 19, and 20, at a restaurant in Sayville. It's called Brownstones, and they do breakfast and lunch type thing. And I approached them a year ago about, hey, I'd love to do like at night something. And then they were opening up a new place in Islip, and I'm like, it went on the wayside. I got busy with other stuff, and then I reapproached them. So now we're doing it. It's going to be a pop-up pasta and grain dinner, which is really cool to be able to play in a different way, and homemade pasta, and just really kind of do things different. But he definitely, David Burke really kind of opened my mind to seeing the possibilities, the endless possibilities. So he wrote the foreword for my second cookbook, which is really cool. He wrote something on each of the other cookbooks, including the new one, Forking Good. But so Burke, probably Blumenthal from Fat Duck, just because of his creative, his mindset, the way he really approached food from just a different place. Charlie Trotter, because he set the tone of what the industry can be, that next level. Bourdain, only because he wasn't a great chef, but he was a great storyteller, and what he did for the business and for the industry really made it made us better. He just made the industry have more of an identity. Where from the old guard from the 80s, the Le Cirque, the Belouds, Restaurant Danielle, those classic French restaurants really help set the stage for what American chefs are doing now. That's where the Charlie Palmers came in, the David Burkes came in, those guys who went to another level, and then my generation and up. The Grant Ashants, the Curtis Duffys, those kind of cats who really, the Charlie Trotters really made us better to be doing what we're doing. And of course Thomas Keller, those kind of guys. But I'd certainly definitely say Burke, Blumenthal, Duffy, Bourdain, and Trotter. Those would be my 5 on there. Yeah.
And you studied, correct me if I'm wrong, CIA?
Culinary
and then even internationally, right?
I did more here in the country, but I worked with some amazing chefs from Japan, from Italy. So really had a really good international base and foundation.
And then 2011, you chopped?
Yeah, I was on Chopped. So that was, I had one Chopped at that time. And it was interesting because I had just been diagnosed with my terminal cancer. So the night before our episode that we taped, I had a chemo treatment, a radiation treatment. My oncologist gave me the news. So I went into it with, okay, fucking let's go. Let's see what could happen. And if you watch that episode, you would see I come up on, I think it was the second round, and somebody says, well, we understand you're going through something now. And I didn't want to talk about it, and the only reason I did with the producers at the beginning of the morning, we were there 4 a.m. I'm like, listen, if something happens to me in the middle of the show, just know I had chemo and radiation. So just in case I fall, slip, crack my skull open, and then it turned into a thing, and you could see when they brought it up, I kind of rolled my eyes. I'm like, I'm not here for that. I'm here to either crush or get my ass kicked. Either one. It's fine. And I wound up winning. It's funny with, the guy I was up against in the final round, super nice guy to me. But when you watch it on TV, I went Facebook Live so I could be, watch people's reaction. And they just buried this guy. This poor guy had to shut his Facebook down, or it crashed or something. They were just burying this guy because, he said some things that were not so nice. And here I was, battling cancer and you don't gonna be a dick, it's about food, it's about the competition. But for me it was all right, let's see if we could win this, and I wound up winning. And the effect that had on people, like fighting through cancer while I was on the show. The amount of direct messages I got and emails I got. Hey, you're really inspiring to my. And it was weird for me because I at that point I was still very broken. I was in in a marriage that wasn't really like, it wasn't happy. I was just there. It was just like going to a house, not to a home, and I was mentally broken, and I was struggling, and it was one of those things that, how am I going to help you? I can't even help myself, But through it, I realized that I could help others to have a positive mindset, because my mindset had always been, fuck this, I'm going to beat it, or at least I'm going to beat it to death, or it's going to beat me to death, and I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to slow down. I went to work every day after chemo radiation treatments. I just didn't slow down because that's how I was built, or that's how I am built. I don't look at it like poor me. I'm like, all right, next, what next? Okay, what next? What next? I had 3 years ago, I was at maybe it was 4 years ago. It was 3 years ago. My mom and my older brother were in the restaurant, and my gallbladder imploded on me. No idea what was going on. Excruciating pain. Now, I don't go to hospitals because I never get sick. I get cancer, but I never get sick. And I'm like, to my brother, I'm like, come here, because something's going on. Brought me to the hospital, and sepsis was setting in, and it was really ugly. So I never do anything the easy way, but I always battle through it. So 2 days later, I was back to work. I just, that's how I am. I had my knee replaced back at the end of May. And I was back. Deb had to steal my keys and hide them because she knew I'd go right back to work. And I was like, don't hide my keys. I'm not a child. She's like, you'll go back to work. And I'm like, really? She's like, yeah. It's not your right leg, it's your left leg. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you're probably right. And it was probably it's still in the healing process. But it's been the hardest thing that I've had to come through, and I ran the New York Marathon back in November, and I ran it on a knee that had no cartilage. And the doctor was like, you should really not run. And I'm like, yeah, you should really not worry about me. I got things to do. And I ran it, and it was hard. I trained. It was one of the hardest things I did ever, and not wanting to quit.
Was it?
And wanting to quit.
More harder physically or harder mentally?
I think it was harder probably physically, because on the 13th mile, my knee just kind of buckled and went sideways. So it was really hard to run. I was running on nothing. And then I came over the 59th Street Bridge at mile 16, and I pulled my right groin. So that I had 10.2 miles to go. And I'm texting Deb. I'm like, I'm fucking done. She's like, no, you're not. One step at a time. I'll be here till midnight if I have to. And I would have given, if it wasn't for her, I would have given up. But she said, remember your why. So I did. And she said, I'll be there till, all right, cool. And, I was in the last group. So I was on the 11:30 cycle. So it was last shotgun that went out, and the sun was setting, and, you drink as you go, but you don't think about it. I had my protein pouches with me. I was hitting those. And they had some, people along the way who were, giving you pretzels or whatever, protein, peanuts and stuff. And, everyone's, you're hoping, knock on wood, that no one's trying to kill you. But yeah, I came over, I think it's Willis Avenue. I don't know how I remember that. I never remember. But the Willis Avenue Bridge that connects the Bronx to Manhattan, they call it the Last Damn Bridge. A woman out there, her mother had started this Last Damn Bridge sign like 20, 25 years ago. She was out there carrying it on, and they had little cups of pretzels. So I took some pretzels, and I'm doing my, cobble wobble, trying to do the best I can to get there. And I come over the bridge. At the bottom of the bridge is a woman who's got a watermelon stand, giving out cups of watermelon. And my mind goes to, I want watermelon's my favorite thing in the universe. I don't care what time of year it is. And I'm like, I'm going to grab this watermelon, and it's either going to be delicious, or she put poison in there. I'm going to fucking die. So I'm like, I'll try the watermelon. I'm going to take 2 cups. So I went on my way, and I'm eating the watermelon, and it was wild. It was like the energy that was out there, even at that late night, that dark time, because it took me 8 hours to run it, to finish it, because it was in such a bad place. But when I got to the 13-mile mark, I was on I was on pace to do it 5.5, which was exactly what I wanted. And then it just took me forever. I mean, even my staff were tracking me. So it went from the red, from the blue, which is moving, to red, which is slow, and then to white, which is like, we can't even find you. And on the bib, it has a tracker. So I was running so slow that it couldn't even track me. And I'm getting to the finish line, and it's about 800 meters. And, there were 2 points in time that I ran by myself. One over the 59th Street Bridge, there was no one running with me, which was weird and surreal.
And I asked this because my wife's family, Vin knows they're runners. I've seen a lot of marathons and races and all that. So I'm feeling, for you right now.
Yeah.
When you're saying, because I'm about to go, it was probably silent, right? On the 59th.
It was
Everybody
crazy.
says that.
It was like there was no one there, and no cars, no bodies,
honking, no
nothing.
brakes.
And it was
you
so
could hear yourself
surreal.
breathing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Every step, like I'm like, is the world
It's like a
end?
dream,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah. I look to the left, and it's like Manhattan's there, and the sun is setting, and I'm like, oh, this is weird. We're the zombies. At that point, the zombies came. I'm a dead guy.
But you did it.
But I did it, and so the last 800 meters, you start to hear the music from the finish line, and the crowds are cheering, and you just go through it. And I didn't even hear Deb or my daughter cheering me on because I was so focused on not dying before I got over the finish line because I was in such pain that they put the medal on. And I'm holding onto the table, and the guy, and I've told the story a million times, the guy comes over, he's like, are you all right? I'm like, I can't feel anything. Gets a wheelchair, runs me into the medical tent, and I was in hypothermia. My temperature dropped to 91.6.
Wow.
It was insane. So Deb's texting me, my daughter's texting me. I'm like, oh, I'm in the emergency tent. They're like, my daughter's freaking out, and the worst part of it was after they got me through it. Deb had to go get the car. You can't be anywhere in Central Park, so she had to go wherever she had to go.
That's a job
and
in itself.
Yeah, Steph and I, my daughter, walked across 69th to 2nd Avenue, and on the corner we're waiting, and there's I look at her, she looks at me, I go, the fucking gelato store there. She's like, what? And I'm in the orange blanket, and I'm like, I need a little gelato. She's like, Dad. I'm like, yeah, what's the worst that could happen? And I got it, and I'm free, I'm cold, and it's like, this sucks. And Deb pulls up, she's like, why? Couldn't you just have a cup of hot chocolate? I'm like, yeah, I just need a little bit. But it took me like a week to recover from that. The knee was shot, went back to the ortho. He's like, yeah, knee replacement surgery, full knee replacement. So I did that in May. And that was the hardest, so from a mindset, because of where I've been and what I've done, like Deb, reminded me of my why, and I just pushed through it. The pain was not natural. It was not like there was nothing normal about it. And we got home that night, and I was like a zombie. You just go through something like that, and you never really truly understand what your body could do when you push it until you push it hard and break. And then you're like, oh, wow, that was kind of cool. Now I got another story to tell. But it was, it always comes back to how hard you can push yourself, right? How you can never stop because no one's coming to save you. No one's going to do the work for you. No one's going to treat the customer well. When you go back to hospitality, it's all relative, right? It's like how you treat people is how you want to be treated. Do you do it with grace? Do you do it with intent? So if you lead your life that way, it's easy. It's like we were talking about before we started about dressing, right? How people dress when they go out. If you lead with that intent, if you lead with wanting to be the best version of you, you're not going to have a problem with anything. You could solve any problem. If it's when you start to sit back and go, oh, poor me, or it's that person's fault. But, I had someone in my life who used to tell me, every time you point a finger at somebody else, you got 3 pointing back at you. It was like fucking brilliant. That's one of my lines now. I always say that. You can point your fingers all you want, but what are you doing? Because it all comes back to you. It's easy to be a baby about shit. What are you doing to make life better around you? The world's insane. If I could control my world the best that I can and be the best version of me for everyone around me, it's a win every day. It's when, you crack on the surface and you don't allow that because you know better. When you know better, you do better.
Sure.
Deb tells me all the time. Like when I find an aha moment, I'm like, holy shit. She's like, right. When you know better, you do better. And I haven't been perfect in any way, shape, or form in life. she's that foundation for me. You know, that it makes all the difference when you have a partner in life that is, no matter what, no matter where, is your biggest fan, your biggest support, will push you harder than you ever thought you could be. You know, there was a note I found in my drawer that I wrote a long time ago, and it said, she healed me in ways I didn't know I needed. I sent her the picture of that. I'm like, listen, I just found this. It is so true. Like, just not knowing, you know, but when you go through life and you understand your why, like my why is service. So in hospitality, it's my why. It's what do I do to make my customers experience, not just my external customer, my internal customer, my staff, make their experience great. You can find all the excuses why you can't, but when you find the why and how, it's so much better. How can I solve this problem? I love problem solving. I am Captain Chaos. I am better in chaos than I am in calm. Calm makes me crazy. I'm looking for the shit that's wrong. I'm looking for the holes in the wall. Like, how can that wall fall down and I can fix it before it happens? I just look at things that way. You know, maybe it's a weird way of looking at it, but that's, you know, how I kind of live my life.
Yeah.
Are you in the restaurant every day it's open?
Yeah. Yeah, in a restaurant every day.
In a restaurant.
Yeah. Doing something for the restaurants. Yeah.
How do you find, like, you talk about your fiance now, of like being able to manage, you know, the hospitality world and then, you know.
Yeah, well, you know what? You
life.
find moments, you find the opportunities, and you take the opportunities. When I know that, you know, a Sunday night dinner service isn't going to need me, hey, babe, I'm coming home. We make time. Mondays, the restaurants are closed. I do my stuff, but then we do, right? We're going away. I never went away. I never thought, and the problem was me, not thinking my staff could do it without me. They're trained. They know what they have to do. They know the way they need to do it. If they fail, it's my fault because I didn't do everything, you know, that I should have done to make it successful. It's like that book, From Good to Great. You know, there's a chapter in there about Lee Iacocca and Chrysler. And it talks about how he is exactly what you shouldn't do in your business. When you make the business about you and build it around you, there's nothing else. Well, don't build it around me. Build it around the team.
Sure.
I will help direct it and guide it and create and give it its thing, but they got to execute. They got to execute as good without me as with me. And you know, there's when I'm there, depending on where I am, there's a little bit of the gas off for them because they know that I'm there. And I'm like, don't do that. Push me out of your way. Do your thing. You know, once in a while I'll make them crazy because I'll walk on the line and I'm like, could I do that, chef? I'm like, sorry, I'll get out of your way.
But it's like the vacation test, right? If you go, can you go away for 2 weeks and come back as if
yeah.
Well,
I'm definitely at that point now because I've done that and we're going away in October, so you know that I know they'll be able to handle. I'm not even worried about it. It's like my other partners, you know, they know that I'm there, so they could go away and know with a good mindset that nothing is going to go sideways or it'll be limited in the sideways.
Things always go on, but nothing that can't be easily fixed.
Yeah. So, you know, the drain backs up, you know, how do you fix it? You know, who do you call if the shit hits the fan or, you know, the electric goes out? You know, it's all the little things that, you know, and those are problems that everybody has. It doesn't matter where you are, you know, so it's a matter of how you react. Am I going to overreact and make it worse? It's like when we get busy and they bring back a dish because someone didn't like it. Am I going to flip out and go, the customer's an asshole. I don't know what they're talking about. This dish is fine. Or do I say, tell me what the issue is. What did they like about it? Yeah.
Does the family come in during dinner service or?
Yeah. The kids will, you know, Deb will come.
Yeah.
You know.
Because I know 317 Main, you guys do a lot of events, cool stuff.
Yeah, we do.
Talk about it.
So we do lots of different cooking classes, wine dinners, beer dinners. We do a lot of the movie dinners. Like right now we're doing Mamma Mia. And they sell out like in 3. We'll post one up, sell out in 3 minutes, literally sell out. And the menu will be predicated on the movie style, sometimes specific. Like we did ratatouille. Okay. So there's a ratatouille dish. There's he does a potato and leek soup dish. So we'll have that come out when that happens. We did Elf. So, you know, the spaghetti with maple syrup. I did a maple bacon meatball for that dish. Okay. So you try to, you know, play with it. Yeah, hocus pocus. You know, we did some cool things. So it's always evolving in what we do and how we do it. So we do lots of it. Live music on Friday nights during the the fall and winter. Summertime, because the bands, crowds go to the outdoor stuff. But we have really cool stuff. We always have something going. There's always something cool that we're doing. We do bingo. We do boozy brunch bingo. We do lots of different nights where people come out. Like Wednesday nights, we'll do a different theme bingo night. And the crowds, they sing. They have a great time. They have like I always videotape it. I'm like, and send it out to my buddies. I'm like, these people are all insane. Like they're having a great time, which is great. Yeah. And they're spending money and they're enjoying themselves. And that's what it's all about. And, we got a great guy, Ben, who's a DJ who kind of helps coordinate everything for those nights or those bingo days. And it's great. People have fun. It's consistent. We're always changing things up. We're going through a massive change in our menu and how we're doing it. New brunch menu will come out soon, within a month or so, but it's going to be a real shift from where we were. And that's because we have to not rebrand so much, but clean it and shift it. And, really cool stuff, that really, really fun stuff. I get challenged and they're like, what could we do different? I'm like, here's an idea. Yeah.
You have, fair to say, an understudy or someone of a younger generation that is looking to mirror what you've done, in hospitality?
I mean, at the restaurant, Boris, but in the industry, there's a lot of young kids who reach out to me, and if I had a spot for them, I would take them all. So it's what can I do to help them grow? It's even not just the young kids, but people who have been in the business who want to make a change. So I try to help wherever I can, through ideas and recipes and creative, and see what their challenges are and help them, be better. But I love when the kids come. I got a kid who's doing an externship from CIA, hopefully starting with me next month. And she's like excited because she'll get to see. And I love to see when young people are excited about the industry, because it's a tough business. It's not for everybody. This business will destroy your life. This business will kill your happiness and your soul, and you'll be left with nothing if you let it.
Do you find like there's a lot or a decent percentage of people coming out that are just, I don't want to say social media entrepreneur in the chef world and going, it's so sexy. It's that,
100%. And they get broken.
How all these guys are on TV and it looks so great.
Yeah, it looks so cool and but they don't understand. I tell people I'm a 45-year overnight success. It took me 45 years to get here. It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen. I mean, I made a lot of mistakes, but it didn't happen overnight. Just because you get a few likes doesn't mean shit. Just because you get a following doesn't mean shit. It's what you do that's the exception to the rule. And that's hard for these kids, especially because they only see it from this perspective.
It's every industry now, though. It's every
true,
entrepreneur.
True, yeah. But everybody wants to be like, I had a couple of kids who worked for me, and I'm like, well, what do you want to do? Like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm like, tell me what you're going to do. What's your business plan? Show it to me. I'll read it. I'll give you my feedback. What do you mean a business plan? So what are you an entrepreneur in? Well, I have this I watch these guys and I take, I'm like, oh, so you take someone else's fucking ideas, sell it as yours to people who are your age and stupid because they think you got an answer. And then what? Then when they find out that you're a fraud and all you're doing is taking someone else's stuff and regurgitating it, what are you left with? Build a foundation. I'll help you. I'll help you write your business plan. I'll help you get there. You're an entrepreneur. It's like someone who's a life coach at 22 years old. What the fuck are you going to teach me? What do you, yeah, you may have had it bad, but you haven't had a Chef Eric bad. Nah. What are you going to teach me? Teach me something. Well, it's like, live your life. I'm like, whoa, philosophy leveled up. You're a guru now. It's like that kind of shit makes me nuts. But people do it. People buy it.
For so long.
Yeah, it only lasts for so long. But then the kids that you teach them and you say, this is what it is. This is how it is. I had to dice potatoes, onions, carrots, celery for months. Then I got onto the next thing. Then I got onto that. It's like sushi. In that sushi world, you learn how to make rice. It takes you 2 to 4 years to learn how to make rice properly. Then you move on to this. Then you move on to that.
Everything today is instant.
Yeah. Everybody wants that gratification. That social media is a great thing. I think it's amazing because it connects people, but it also, it's a lie. It's also a lie. That's why I share the shit that I do also. I don't share just the pretty stuff. My life has been one massive, amazing mess. And I share the good success, and I also share the failures, because it's not all good. I've messed up more than I have succeeded. I've made more mistakes than I have had success. Okay, I'm human. I make stupid decisions. I'll continue to make dumb decisions. There'll be less, they'll hurt less people, but I'm gonna do stupid things. I'm gonna think that I could still run on a recovering knee. I ran up the stairs the other day and I slipped. I face planted, knee planted, right on the edge of the step. And I called Deb up and I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. She's like, what'd you do? I'm like, I decided I thought it'd be a good idea to run up the steps, and I slipped and I banged the knee, banged the face, and okay, lesson learned. But shit's gonna happen. And you can't be stuck in being, I only succeed. I know so many entrepreneurs who have had great success that have failed epically. I've failed epically. I've destroyed businesses. Like, it'll all be in the book. And a couple of them I destroyed purposefully because of my ego. I learned how to kill my ego. That was the greatest gift. Ego death, greatest thing ever. I didn't know it. Now I know it. Now I understand ego death. Now I understand, when I am in the moment and what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. I feel everything. I sense everything. But I wasn't that good 3 years ago. Like, I didn't understand it then. Now I do. Now I'm better. You know better, you do better, Yeah,
it's important, right? I was watching a podcast a few weeks ago, and one of the questions the guy asked was, what's your favorite failure? Right? And I thought it's just an interesting question, because no one, to any entrepreneur, you probably have one, right? And you just
2,
brought
3,
up,
4, 5.
but to most people, they only want to concentrate on the successes because that's what they want to put out there.
Yeah, and I think the successes are important because it shows growth. It shows that you can do. The hard work pays off, but it doesn't happen without the nightmares. It doesn't happen without losing your fucking everything. I watched them take your house, your car, your soul, and drive off with it. Nothing better than that. I love failing because I learned so much more from that than success. Everybody wants to be the top of the hill. When you're at the top of the hill,
it's lonely too.
Yeah, it's lonely, and people want to take their shots at you personally. I know people who in my industry who got to know me and had to apologize to me for the way they thought about me. I was at a conference, and this chef came over to me, and this person was like, I got to apologize. I'm like, what for? And this person said, I thought you were the biggest asshole, most arrogant person I ever met. I'm like, why? What'd I do? And this person said, it wasn't what you said. It was what other people told me. And I see who you are. So I'm apologizing to you. And that was humbling, right? That was humbling because I don't give a fuck what someone thinks about. I truly don't. Like, you can't, I am unfuckable with. You cannot hurt my soul anymore.
Unless people tell you that there's no ramen noodle in it.
Exactly. Well, that hurts me a little bit. But no one's going to ever tell me anything that I haven't said to myself 6 inches away from a mirror with a gun in my mouth. You can't hurt me. You can't. What are you going to do? Well, nothing you can do. You can put a bullet in my head. That's the only thing that'll hurt me. That's it. And then I'll take a nice nap. I'll find out if there's really a heaven or hell. If not, it'll be a good sleep. But, it's like when you become that way, when you become indestructible that way, the only way to move is forward, right? It's you just keep doing, and you grab everybody with you. Anyone that wants to come on board, let's go. Help them, move them forward. And if you could do better, I'm going to push you to do better. And if I see you weak, I'm going to push you to do better because you should be better. You should want to do better. Don't accept it as good enough is good enough. Fuck that. There's enough mediocrity out there. There's way, way too much mediocrity out there. I'm not saying you got to be, special, but don't let your parents put their shit into you. Like, you should do this and you should do that. Do what you think is right for you and be the greatest at that. If you can, you're going to win every single time. But when you think it's about you, not what you do, then you lose. That's where I learned. That was probably the biggest lesson I learned. That's not about me. It's what I do for others. It's how I make the universe better by doing better.
It's definitely great advice. And I want to make sure we don't forget Forking Good. Tell us about it.
Forking Good. So this is my 4th cookbook. This book is kind of like where I am now in my cooking world and my style and my concepts. So this book was a lot of fun. It was a tough book to write because of the process that I had to do. The organization that I did it with. I don't want to get in trouble for saying their names, but it's a tough thing. So when people write cookbooks, they think it's going to make money. There's no money in cookbooks. There's no money in cookbooks. If one wants to write a cookbook, it's a passion. It's you want to do to share, right? So I do the photography. So I'm very, very lucky and very blessed that my dad's a photographer. So I learned a lot from him. So I get to do that part of it also and to create recipes. And this book was probably the most fun to write, the hardest one to get published because of how I did it. And, it's like when I look at the book, I'm happy with it. My first cookbook was called Stick It, Spoon It, Put It in a Glass. So that was all about like using the same ingredient 3 ways in 3 different vessels, which I love, but it was really geared towards the industry chef. And so I had customers who buy it now and they're like, what is, calcium? Because there's a lot of molecular gastronomy in it, which I don't play with that much anymore. At that time, 12 years ago, 14 years ago, I did. And so they're like, what's agar-agar? What is, calcium citrate? And I'm like, where do I get? I'm like, shit, don't use that recipe. Move on to the next one. Small bites, big flavors. I did it. I had a really good publisher with that, and my old PR firm, Fire It Up, oddly enough, they're called Fire It Up. Chrissy, who was part of the company, helped me really focus the recipes towards the home cook. She'd review the recipes, and she's like, what the hell is that? I'm like, oh, it's a half sheet pan. She's like, the home cook doesn't know what a half sheet pan is. I'm like, oh, 9x9 baking pan. Yeah, okay. So I had to learn to write recipes differently. When I did Burgers, Bowls, and Jars, that was the first time I did a self-publishing book. Had it printed overseas because doing it here in the States was way too expensive. That was a great thing. I learned a lot about that, a lot about grassroots selling, and sold a ton of them. Great book. It was where I was in life again, and there's pictures in that book that of me that I hate because it's 364 pounds, but it reminds me of where I was. And then Fork and Good. It really kind of became a thing of passion. Like I just want to create something. I won't ever write a cookbook again. Well, I shouldn't say never, but the book that I'm working on is my autobiography. So that to me is like this. All the books can be found on Amazon.com or Barnes and Noble. There's a link on my personal, thecheferical.com website there. That's where like all my stuff lives. But Instagram is where I live on a daily basis, where I share, food, personal stuff, my life. Because, there are people in my world who are like, you post too much. I'm like, fuck you, I don't post enough. Like, I want to share everything that I do because if I can inspire one person, if I can make one person see an opportunity to do something great or share an idea, we just started doing this Ferris wheel of appetizer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we started yesterday. I couldn't believe how many we sold last night. And people were like, that's cool. It's Instagrammable, lots of cool things on there, dipping sauces, and it's fun. So people enjoy that stuff.
Yeah, but without your post, they wouldn't even know.
They wouldn't know it exists.
Unless people just come to your.
Right. It's just like the flour and grain pop up that we're doing. We're sold out. We had to add another day because people are interested in seeing something different, and their followers or fans or whatever you want to call them, my people, and they get excited when I do something, or whether it's on Fox and Friends or Channel 12. Like there was, a segment that came out yesterday on Channel 12. I didn't know it was there until I get all these text messages. Hey, I just saw you on TV. Hey, that's sometimes how I find out, like even Food Network stuff, because I did Chop Champions, beat Bobby Flay, Alex versus America. And I don't ever know when it's on until it's on and someone says, hey, look, they take a picture. I'm like, hey, stupid, you're on TV again. Yuck. I'm like, all right, well, you're not. So, but that's how I sometimes find out that it's on. And it's cool because it's like, I love sharing. I love doing, I thought I was done with the TV shows. The only show that I'd want to ever be on right now is Tournament of Champions. Okay. That to me is like, that's like the greatest competitive chefs from all the different things are on there, and some really great people. Like Monique Chauhan, who's a judge from Chop, I got to be friendly with her. In fact, she wrote the foreword for Burgers, Bowls, and Jars. And, I think the world of her. She's an amazing, talented chef. She won twice. And just to know that I could call her up, it's kind of a cool thing. It's one of those things that you never know who you meet. You never know who you connect with. And I think you just, the more you do, the more you're out there, and people will look to you for whatever it is. Even Burke, like, we talk about stuff all the time. And when he sees something that I'm doing and he's like, that's a great idea. That to me, it's like when you get that accolade from a mentor, or that like acknowledgement, validation.
Yeah.
Even like when he started his catering company, he first approached me to do it. And, at that point I was building my brand, and it was going to be his brand only. And I'm like, I love you, but if we could co-brand it, he's like, I don't need you. I got my own brand. I'm like, yeah, yeah, chef, like you just kind of move on from it. But, we talk, we chat. There's always something going on, and it's always like the more you do, the more people will see what you're doing, and either they'll gravitate towards you or they won't. And you can't worry about who doesn't. It's the people that are in your sphere. So every DM, every comment on a picture or whatever, I'll reply to. Sometimes it takes me a little bit longer than others, but there are things that hit really well, and you get, 15, 20,000, and you get all these comments, you're like, shit, I can't keep up with it. But you get there. It's like birthday fucking wishes on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just putting a blast. I got like I got over like 10,000 at one click, and I'm like, thank you all. I love you all. I can't respond to everybody. I want to, but it's like, how many hours a day can you spend on that?
Time. Yeah. Yeah.
And Deb won't do it for me. Yeah. She'll do a lot for me, and she won't waste her. Yeah, exactly.
You were talking earlier about like the 30% rule, and I've followed that, and I'm always very, I don't want to say surprised on how little training so many restaurants do. Right? Yeah. We see it kind of somewhat firsthand, because someone will reach out to us and go, "Oh, I have 30 people that that are coming on payroll. We're opening in 4 weeks. Okay, we're going to be doing training,
right,
process." But 90% of them we're opening Wednesday.
I opened 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, it is in the world. It really is wild to see what people don't do. And it's not to point out their mistakes. For me, it's to show them how they could be better, right? How they could be more efficient in hospitality. And what Preston does should be common sense.
When you watch it, it seems like,
you're like, oh, well, that's, of course. Yeah. And most people don't practice it. I would say, 30% do, right? And everyone else just gets by because they don't think big. They don't think, how can they be better because it's good enough. It's that good enough mentality. Like, we're doing good. We're hitting, we're breaking even, or we're not losing money at least. Who the fuck wants to do that? I want to break even. I want to make enough money. I tell people all the time, I want to make billions and billions of dollars, not because I want a house, but because I want to build other businesses with other people. I want my sous chef, Boris. I want to build him a restaurant that we could do whatever food he wants to do, and he could call it his. I would do that for anybody. If I had the money, or when I have the money, I will do that for everybody that wants to do that. Because if you care enough, I want to do that for you. He's got 3 great girls, right? And, Christmas time, send them the girls to a Christmas show, whatever. And, it was one of their birthdays the other day. And he said to me, actually yesterday, he's like, "Chef," he's like, "the little one, it's a little tough." I'm like, "What happened?" He's like, "You forgot her birthday." I'm like, "How did I forget her birthday? You didn't tell me it was her birthday." He's like, "Yeah, she's really mad at you." I'm like, "What does she want?" He goes, "I'll text you later." So, it's like you do things for people, little things, it goes a long way, right? So when he asks me for something, I will always do. If it's in my power, I will do. I want to help other people, other young, talented people grow into a business, because I believe if you help people, they'll do great things. I don't need anything. I got a roof over my head. I got shoes on my feet. I'm good. I got my health. I got the most amazing woman in the world. I have the most amazing life ever, ever, ever. I am in the best place I've ever been. If I can make the billions, I want to make the billions to do for others.
That's admirable. It really is. And just what an unbelievable story, really, from inception. And it's, I an honor, to hear the story.
And I'm just getting started. So
Yeah?
there's a lot to do. I got a lot to do.
We have a question from
a
Crystal.
caller.
From a caller.
From a
Hi, caller. How are you? Welcome to the show.
So most of my family, as you know, lives in Farmingdale.
Yes.
And I've always been a big supporter of all the revitalization and the growth that they're doing with Main Street and the downtown. And I think that you and your restaurants are obviously a big part of that. So just why Farmingdale?
So Farmingdale happened by a fluke. So one of my partners, Dominic, he's one of the four horsemen. So there's four of us: my friend Dom, Rob, Matt, and I. We are known as the Four Horsemen. So we all come from a weird place. And I was in Jersey, and Dom had disappeared for 20 years. Out of nowhere, I get a Facebook message from him, and he was using a different name. He's like, "Hey, I've been following you. I can't believe your success. Congratulations." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm just whatever." Like, "Hey, thanks so much. Appreciate it." He's like, "It's Dom." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "It's Dom." I'm like, "Holy shit." So we haven't seen him since probably right after my wedding 30 something years ago, right? So we start talking. He's like, I'm buying the Nutty Irishman in Farmingdale. We need some help with the menu and stuff like that. Would you be interested in consulting? Now I'm in Jersey. I have my restaurants out there. And I said, I'm like, "Sure, let me come out and check it out." For whatever reason, I thought that the day of the St. Patrick's Day parade would be a good idea to go out there. I don't know why. Like, I haven't been to Farmingdale St. Patty's Day at the Nutty Irishman. If you know anything about the Nutty Irishman, it is a constant party.
The countdown is on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I went, took a look. It's a bar. They do a great job. It's been around forever. It is constantly evolving. My partners, Kevin and Joe, are always looking at, especially Joe, looking at ways to elevate that experience there. Amazing job. And Catherine, who's basically our business manager, comes up with some amazing ideas. So I was like, okay, went back home. I said, "Here's what it would cost." We got on a conference call. And they're like, "It's a lot of money." I'm like, "I'm not going to give you a product for C&D pricing. I consult. I don't need to do this. I got my places. I'm good." That's a little too much. I'm like, "All right, if anything ever comes up, sure." Well, the space 317 became available. It was an old five and dime, and because of the contract that the Nutty Irishman had, the guy who owns the property was about to pull a kill on the property because he was going to build apartments. So they had to act fast. They took the spot. It's 317 and 315, or 319. And Dom said, "Hey, check this out. What do you want to do?" Completely blank slate. There was only barely a ceiling, the floor, and the stone on the wall, like the whatchamacallit, the cinder block. Yeah. That was it. Electric lights that were just like the stream, like plug-in type shit. No plumbing, no anything. And I'm like, wow, holy shit, this could be really cool. We talked, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. So, that was December of 18. Probably. And then so we started the process, and by June, we were at a point where it was like getting closer to opening. And everyone's like, "Can we push it early? Can we push it early?" I'm like, "We're not going to be open till September 10th. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, "I've opened up 3 other restaurants on September 10th. It always works out that way because we are not ready right now." We were not ready. Even on September 10th. I mean, we were ready to open, but we were not ready. So after we did our friends and family the week before, I turned to my partners. I'm like, we are not fucking ready. There's no way. There's too many things to do. It took us so long to get here. We're not ready. We had to open up because we were bleeding. Obviously, how much more money could you throw into the pot? And we opened up, and the first Friday, the POS, the open table glitched. We had a line to the corner of reservations, and we couldn't feed anyone. And we couldn't get the food out fast enough. New place, all new people. No matter how much training you do pre, Unless you control that door, it's a floodgate. And the manager that I had with me was a guy who worked with me in Jersey. I thought he had it, didn't have it. Perfect storm. Woman comes up to the kitchen because we have an open window. She's like, excuse me, I think you need more staff. And I had one of those Gordon Ramsay moments, and I'm like, I think you need to sit the fuck down. She's like, excuse me? I'm like, I'm not saying it again. And I got tickets falling on the floor, all over the place. My guys are crashing and burning, and I'm like, all right, just breathe. And, we got through it, and it was like, so that's the why Farmingdale. And no, it's September 10th will be 6 years, and we've had great success. It is an amazing restaurant that's got so much to offer. Like, we're not myopic. We're not one thing. Even down to our vegan dishes. Like, I went vegan for a year. I came out of my terminal cancer, and my mom brought me to this holistic doctor, Dr. Fred Bisi. I don't know if he's alive, but he's like, you got to do something radical. I'm like, sure. Now, I understand back then I was 365 pounds. He's like, you got to do something radical. I'm like, what? He's like, go vegan. I'm like, is bacon vegan? Probably not. But I went vegan for a year, and it was the single greatest, worst experience of my life. It was great because I got to change my lifestyle and eating differently, cooking certainly differently. But it was hard to go out for dinner because everything became steamed veg and rice, pasta and vegetable. And at that point I realized, like, maybe I'm doing that same shit. I got to have experiences for those vegans, make it worthwhile. So we have we have a bunch of menu items that are vegan focused, but it's an experience. It's not just throw it on the plate with some, vegetables and rice. Create the experience. So now the carnivores who have vegan friends or family members can come and never have to worry about it. Just like the people who have celiac. You never have to worry about that. My daughter has celiac, so I'm overly aware of how bad that could be as an experience. And it's amazing to me how many people don't understand what celiac is. That's a gluten disease, right? And people are like, well, you can't have mashed potatoes and there's gluten in mashed potatoes. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. That's not the gluten. It's flour-based, soy-based, not starch-based. I'm like, learn, educate yourself. And most people don't. I mean, she'll have to, bring a card with her. Here's for the chef to see what I cannot have. No cross-contamination. Use different utensils, blah, blah, blah. And it's incredible how many people are like, 30% no. Yeah. It's that 30% rule. And but it's truly amazing that, now everyone's evolved. And not everyone. I'll say in my restaurant. People are evolving and they're understanding more. The guys who are just cooks now understand the cross-contamination. They understand all those things. And still, mistakes are going to happen. Human error. It's going to happen. So it's how you recover. It's how you fix. It's how you make sure the customer has a great experience. How you create hospitality. So all those things play into it. So that's why Farmingdale.
Nice. More locations in the future?
I will say definitely yes. Hopefully my partners at 317 will want to do that. But I had opened in a couple places in Brooklyn, and because of the again, understanding business and understanding those things, I had to walk away. Deb and I had to walk away from it. So there'll be definitely something coming up. I'm doing the pop-ups that may lead into something else, hopefully. And I'm always looking at what could be next. Like, what else can we do? Is it in New York? Is it in Florida? Is it in wherever? Always thinking about like what's next, while keeping an eye on what we have. There's an eye on moving forward because, like I said, my surface just got scratched, so I'm thinking big.
Nice.
You mentioned you have two daughters?
I have I have a son and a daughter from my first marriage, and Deb has a son and a daughter.
Are any of the kids involved in?
No. Well, my daughter was hostessing for us for a while in Jersey, and then went to college, became a teacher. My son spent, I think, 3 days during the summer, and he was like, "Fuck this! I am not doing this." He's a police officer in Jersey. Nice. Dylan just graduated high school. He has no interest in the business. Olivia, actually, she hosted for me for a while at 317, and she was like, this kid's a monster. Like, she just got it at a young age and can run circles around almost everybody. So now she's working actually at Jackson Hall for my friend Mike.
Yeah.
And she's there, and she's running it. It's wild. It's wild to see. But no, she won't. None of them will be in the business.
Yeah.
None of them. Deb's in the business more than anybody else, and which is fine because then I get to do more with her. And to me, I'd rather do everything with her every single moment because we get along that well on every level, even in the stressful situations. It's like one mind just moving it forward is wild. It's a wild thing. I'd love nothing more than to have one of the kids fall into it because then I could share in that. But if they don't have the heart for it, the passion for it, it's kind of, it is a killing machine. The industry is not for the faint of heart. It could be really, really ugly. I find beauty in that ugly, but that's because I'm me and weird maybe. But I just have a different perspective. It's not for everybody. I would love for people to be as passionate about it as I am, and it's unfortunate that not everyone is. And I used to work for a guy. He goes, maybe you're just sick in the head. Maybe you just love the pain so much. I'm like, it's not painful. I love the creative. I love the hospitality. I love the nurturing part. I love the creative part. I love the pressure. I love the chaos. I love it. I love when the shit hits the fan to know that I am the guy who's going to fix all of it at one time without panicking. It's just how I just see things.
Yeah, well, you thrive with all the tickets hanging in front of you, where other people
I'm an agent of
wilt
chaos.
and go into the fetal position.
Yeah.
In a different way, you remind me of a friend of ours, Bobby from Vincent's, who he's like, Saturday night is like waiting for that big wave, and you're just looking out for it and just feeding off of it, and your passion is definitely infectious.
Well, you have to grow with it, right? You have to be excited about it because then I don't want to be fucking average. I don't want to be just like everybody else. Like everyone goes through their day, 9 to 5. Well, have the weekend off. Okay, well, what are you doing? Build a house, build a garden, or listen. As much as I want to watch Ohio State win every single game, I don't have the time to watch Ohio State every weekend. They're going to win this weekend, though, so I'm excited about that. But, it's like all those things in life. Like, I want to go to every Ranger game. This past year, actually, the last couple of years, I haven't been to one single Ranger game. I haven't even watched a Ranger game full through on TV or a hockey game. I'll watch any hockey game. I don't care if it's Pee-wee hockey. I love hockey. It's my sport.
Now we're talking.
And, it's like, I don't care, even if it's the
excited.
Icelanders. Like, I'll watch, I just love hockey. But I haven't had the time this year for whatever reason. Like I catch a period here and there. I'll listen to Spit and Chicklets all the time to catch up on where I'm at and what I missed out on. And it's the greatest sport in the world. Baseball is a snooze fest. Watch grass grow. Thank God they put the pitch clock in. But everyone's like, yeah, it's better now. I'm like, still 6 hours to watch a fucking game.
Right.
I don't have that kind of luxury of time to waste.
Well, thank you. This was unbelievable, Eric. I mean, just
I appreciate
the history, really the passion, and going back to if you could help one person, I'd be shocked if you didn't help 10 today in some capacity,
I hope so.
and hopefully someone follows in your footsteps and brings that passion to hospitality.
Yeah, well, that's the goal. Every day in every way to get better 1%.
Good luck with the book. We look forward to.
Yeah, I look forward to sharing it because it's going to be a doozy.
Who's the first call going to be to your mom again?
I think my mom is going to have to read it. Deb will read it first, and then my mom, and then my older brother, because he witnessed a lot of stuff. Yeah, that poor bastard. Yeah, being my sibling was not easy, but you'll learn. We have so many conversations about this stuff and things that used to do, and I'm like. You get, oh, dude, I'm so sorry. I love you. You know that, right? He's like, yeah, I know you love me, but you were an asshole. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Continued success.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Thanks for coming on.
Hope I answered all the questions or most of the questions.
Many, yeah, it was
That's it.
exciting.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank you.